When exiting, there are no black women coaches currently in the WNBA. And everybody trying to stop on each other. It's reckless for Matt to dismiss it as a cash grab. They're Welcome to the No Bull Podcast, or welcome back to the No Bull Podcast. I am your host, Brianna Bull, and I'm bringing you everything basketball. Because if you know bull, you know ball. Let's get into it. We have a really fun episode planned out today. We, as in me, I'm the only one who produces this show. So I have a fun episode for y'all planned today, and I'm very much looking forward to talking basketball with you, but not only because it's finals week. Fantasy basketball is about to start, and the NBA basketball is going to start. So NBA fantasy, same thing, but still. So it's WNBA Finals week. NBA is about to start. Fantasy, and then also we're coming up, since we're in October, right? We're coming up on the possible WNBA lockout, which I won't necessarily be covering today, but I just wanted to keep y'all minds fresh and remind you that October 31st is the deadline for them to reach CBA contract negotiations. So I'm really excited. I'm looking forward to talking ball with y'all. And without further ado, let's get into it. If you haven't already, make sure you drop a like, subscribe. I see there's some people in the chat, so be sure to hit that like button. I really appreciate your support. Okay, first thing on the docket is the W report. And we all know my W report. If you don't know, then I will tell you, obviously. But the W report is where we talk everything WNBA, like news that's been happening, games that are coming up. In this case, we're going to talk about the most recent controversial news surrounding the WNBA. You probably already heard about it. And then we're going to talk about the finals, a finals preview, be it, if you will. So first things first, basketball. I want to talk on the court basketball, and that is the 2025 WNBA Finals. Game 1 is set to kick off tomorrow, 8 p.m. Eastern Time on ESPN, and it will be the Las Vegas Aces hosting the Phoenix Mercury. I call it the Battle of the Desert. See what I did there? Because Arizona, Nevada. Anyway. It's the Battle of the Desert. And not only is this the Battle of the Desert, this is like a heavyweight championship. Both of these teams play big. One of the teams play really fast. And actually, before I get too ahead of myself, that's what we're going to kick off into. But this is history that we're witnessing tomorrow. History in a sense that this is the first time ever the WNBA is having a 7-game finals. They are going to 7 games, just like the NBA. So it's really exciting. It's the first ever best of 7 series. Come on now. Wait, hold on. I got some claps. I got some claps in this thing. Here, hold on. Yeah. That's really cool. So I'm excited. Again, tomorrow, game 1 kicks off at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Now, let's talk about these two teams, Phoenix Mercury and the Las Vegas Aces. Shout out to Alyssa Thomas, who was my MVP. To see her make it to the finals, I hope she pulls this out all the way. Not going to lie to y'all. I am leaning towards the Mercury to win this series. But honestly, these two teams are so good in their own way in what they do and bring to the game that it's gonna be, since basketball is a game of runs, it's gonna be interesting to see. Are we gonna see this slow tempo Aces team, or are we gonna see this high tempo Phoenix team? Who's gonna it's gonna be the battle of the tempo. Who's gonna keep control of the game tempo wise? I'm very curious to see. We all know most of the points are gonna live in the paint. But that does not take away from neither one of these teams' ability to shoot from the three-point land. People like from the Aces side, Jackie Young will shoot that 3. Kirsten Bell is known to let that thing go. If you sleep on her, don't sleep on her. Asia Wilson's going to come down and shoot 1 or 2 threes in a game. Then you got, we might see, we don't know what's going to happen with Chelsea Gray. Some games she focuses heavily on playmaking. You won't even see her take a 3. And in some games you see all she does is just shoot the ball. So we don't know which Chelsea Gray we're going to see, but she's not going to be quiet. And then Jewel Lloyd off the bench obviously is going to knock down some threes in the corner. So I'm excited. That team is a threat on the outside, so we can't sleep on them. On the Phoenix Mercury side, We've seen Satu Sabali heat up and go crazy from the 3-point land. I mean, she made history on her own franchise with the amount of threes made in one game. I think it was what? It was like 8 or 11. I don't know. But last time she heated up, she hit 5 threes for the Phoenix Mercury that ended up helping them win that game over the Minnesota Lynx in just recently in the semifinals. So she's a 3-point threat. And then obviously Sammy Whitcomb. Sammy Whitcomb's gonna come off the bench. Sammy's gonna come off the bench and she gonna hit some threes. That's all pretty much all they bring her off the bench to do. So you got Sammy Whitcomb and then Kalia Copper. We all know Copper is a champion. She's won before. She's been in this moment before. Now, I've heard some people say they don't know if they can trust Copper to hit the three from beyond the arc or to even show up. Not just hit the three, but to show up. I'm leaning more towards having faith in Copper because we know she's not just fighting for her team to win. She's fighting for her legacy too. You see what I'm saying? So to say she got to a championship and won it on a different team, because she was on the Chicago Sky when she won it. To see her come and win a championship on a different team says a lot about Copper. So, and then players like DeWanna Bonner, even players like Natasha Mack. And then we got the freshman, the rookie, Monique Akamakani. I'm sorry, y'all. I'll be butchering those names. Akoa Makani. She's going to have an opportunity to win a championship in her rookie year. So we got two teams. I left some great names out, but we'll talk a little bit more. Just want to say what's up to the chat. We got a lot of returners here in the chat. I'm really grateful for y'all. We got shout out to Chicago Cheetah. Shout out to Tulip. We got Bruce from the Format Podcast. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We got WB in the chat. Kelsey Bailout Queens in the chat. I got Torian in the chat. Man, we got some goats in the chat right now. I see people talking about Asia's the goat. Y'all are the goats of my community. So I'm grateful that y'all are here. And this is going to be a really fun episode. Again, if you haven't already, make sure you drop a like, subscribe if you're not already a member. And just remember, if you know bull, you know ball. So again, we're covering the previews of the finals for the WNBA starting tomorrow. The first game 1 of the finals, best of 7 series. The last time these two teams seen each other was in August, and it was like one of those back-to-backs type, not like night after night, but they played each other relatively close. The last time in August, the first time they played each other was August 15th, and the Las Vegas Aces beat the Phoenix Mercury 86-83. And then they played each other, and this was at Phoenix. Then they played each other again August 21st, so just 6 days later, and they were at the Las Vegas Aces, and the Aces won again 83, but this time Phoenix only managed to score 61 points. So obviously they struggled with scoring in that game. These two teams did play each other 3 times this year. The first time 4 times, pardon me, 4 times this year. They're in like the same division, same conference, so they see each other a lot, more times than other teams. But the other 2 times they played, Las Vegas Aces beat them their second time 84-81. But then the very first time in the series, Phoenix managed to get the win 76-70. So if you look at the regular season history and you're trying to figure out, well, you know, which one of these teams are going to win based on the history of this regular season matchup, the Las Vegas Aces have managed to beat the Phoenix Mercury 3-1. However, neither one of these teams are the same team they were in June. Maybe a little bit more in August. We're starting to see the teams be kind of what they are today. But these teams have drastically changed from the regular season to the playoffs and now heading into the finals. They are not the same team that they were. All right. And so, again, this is a heavyweight matchup. These teams are big. A lot of points are going to be scored in the paint. And I call it the battle of the desert. So I'm excited. As far as projected lineups go, they obviously don't have that listed, but I kind of want to do my projected predictions out of these two teams. I don't really see too much shifting from either team regarding the starting lineup and even who they bring off the bench first. Neither team suffered drastic injuries. Unfortunately, the teams that they played against suffered drastic season-ending injuries. But both of these teams managed to come out pretty much unscathed. So I'm going to check the injury report on ESPN real quick before I completely shoot myself in the foot. So while I do that, I'm gonna check the chat just to see what y'all saying as well. We got the 8580 podcast in the chat. Say, hey, chat. We got some comments here. Which is Kalia Copper. Kalia Copper's been streaky lately, but she's a killer too. She's the X factor to keep the Aces defense honest. I love that take. 100%. I agree with you. She is the X factor for their team because Alyssa Thomas is going to be that consistency showing up. And I'm curious to see how Becky Hammond is going to navigate Alyssa Thomas and her ability to push the tempo. How are they going to slow her down? I'm very curious to see. They have big guards to match up against her, and I'm wondering who they're going to bring out there to do that. But let me just real quick check the injury. But I'm pretty sure neither one of these teams got anything crazy happening to them. Injuries, real quick. And then just thinking about the projected starters. Yeah. Yep. Both teams are good to go. Nothing to report. So with all that information gathered, I got starting for the Las Vegas Aces. Obviously, we have Jackie Young. Jackie Young. Shout out to Jackie Young. How she is very well an X factor for the Las Vegas Aces because they can rely on her to show up if Asia isn't getting it done. Cause why? Because she keeps doing it. Almost every single series in this playoffs run, Jackie Young has showed up. All right. So we got Jackie Young. Then I do think they're gonna go ahead and start Kirsten Bell again. I don't see a harm in doing that. Then you got Chelsea Gray, Nalissa Smith, and Asia Wilson. So those are my starting fives for the Las Vegas Aces. Bringing Joy Lloyd off the bench has done so much good for them. I don't see them switching it up. And again, don't leave Kirsten Bell out there. She does decent defense. She has decent defense. It's doable. But I don't leave her out there, especially at the top of the key, a little bit off to the wing, because she will. And I repeat, she will knock that thing down. So for the Phoenix Mercury, we have starting obviously Alyssa Thomas. They'll probably Monique is gonna start. Aka Makani. I'm so sorry, girl. I keep butchering your name. And then probably Satu Sabali, Natasha Mack, and then who they got at the fifth? Who am I missing from Phoenix? Well, Natasha's probably gonna play the 5 or 4. Huh. I feel like I'm missing one person, y'all. Hold on. Anyway, let's check chat real quick. DB better give 10 off the bench to give Phoenix the edge. DB is DeWanna Bonner, and I agree. DeWanna Bonner needs to be more of a scoring presence, and she cannot hide on offense. Sometimes I struggle with believing in her offense. She gets in people's way. She doesn't move very well off the ball. It's like if the play falls apart, DeWanna doesn't know what she's doing. And for her to be in the league that long, I question sometimes what the hell you be doing, DeWanna? But when she manages to get those mismatches in the post or even find herself closer to the paint, she's super effective. I don't want her shooting no threes though. Heck no. Absolutely not. So yes, DeWanna Bonner needs to get some scoring going for them to find success. Absolutely. And then make sure, I hope Nalissa Smith, because I don't think she realized how good she is. She needs to make sure she's keeping Natasha Mack off the glass. Because I don't think they're gonna have Asia Wilson sticking Natasha. You feel what I'm saying? So Nalissa needs to show up and make sure she's boxing Natasha out. Because Natasha is really good at offensive rebounding, and she has amazing defense at the rim. She's really good defense on the rim. So again, it's gonna be a battle of the bigs, battle of the deserts, Arizona, Nevada, and we're gonna see some fun. It's gonna be fun in the paint. I appreciate you, y'all. I appreciate the love. Okay. So yeah, let's keep going on this finals preview. One last thing I want to point out about this game tomorrow is obviously it's hosted by the Las Vegas Aces. They're following that that 2-2-1-1-1 format of the best of seven, first ever best of seven. So we're going to see two games with Las Vegas Aces home, and then Phoenix can go away. And obviously it's the best of seven, so you got to win at least four of these things. And because it's the best of seven, they're really going to set the standard for what those stats look like moving forward. Like when a team is down 3-1, what are the odds of them coming back? They're setting the gold standard for this. So it's pretty cool to see that, like, next year when they're pulling odds, and in the year after that pulling odds, we're witnessing like the very first of those odds being pulled. Do you see what I'm saying? I still think that's really cool, and I'm not going to stop bringing that up or celebrating it. But let's just look real quick at the box score of the last regular season matchup these two teams played against each other. It was again back in August 21st, and the Aces blew the Mercury out. Every other regular season game that these two teams faced each other, Mercury either lost or won by a few points. So this was like their biggest deficit. All right. And this is where they were in this starting lineup with Jackie, Asia, Nalissa, Kirsten, and Chelsea. And Nalissa had just came over from that trade too. So I want to keep that in mind. But it looks like the leading scorer of this game for the Aces obviously was Asia, but everybody else, like Jackie had 12, Nalissa had 12, and Chelsea had 12. And then Dana Evans off the bench had 17. And then if you look down for Phoenix Mercury scoring wise, again, they struggle with scoring. Only two players managed to make it in double digit scoring, and that was Alyssa Thomas with 17 and Satu with 15. And neither one of them shot well from the field. Everybody, I mean, as a team, it looks like they shot a total of like 30% something from the field. Not good at all. Oh, Copper. How did I forget Copper in the starting lineup? So for the Phoenix starting lineup, is most definitely going to be Satu, Alyssa, Natasha, Kalia, and then Monique is going to be there. It looks like it's possibly going to be their starting lineup with Lexi held, or maybe they'll start Lexi. Who knows? Who knows? If they want to go bigger, both of these teams are big, so we'll see. But again, any team is going to have to score well in order to win. But with the Phoenix Mercury defense, I question it sometimes. I really do. I don't think that's their strong point. I don't. But watching their series against the Minnesota Lynx, I think the whistle was on their side a little bit. I don't want to get into the whole whistle thing, okay? I don't want to just fully focus on that. But this game is going to be so crucial that the whistle is fair, because the refs right now are under a ton of scrutiny. So I can even see they're going to let a lot of things go, or they're going to call everything. And if they do call everything, that's going to be an advantage for the Las Vegas Aces, because again, they like to play with a slow tempo. If the Phoenix Mercury are slowed down, it does expose their backcourt a little bit. And a lot of the weight tends to go on Copper and Alyssa, especially if Satu's shot's not falling. You see what I'm saying? So everybody on this team is going to need to step up, and hopefully this isn't going to be an instance where they start playing that one-on-one basketball that we see Phoenix do a lot, and also Aces, they start to do that a lot when teams aren't getting it going as a unit. Both of these teams tend to move into that one-on-one basketball, which does not bode well for either one of them. When it comes to these two types of teams, everybody's going to have to be involved in the scoring in order to make this thing work, make this thing shake. So I'm really excited to see these matchups. Let's just see what the chat is saying. Chat's pretty lit. Welcome to the chat, Jacob. Welcome, Mel from Man Down Sports. Make sure you go subscribe to Man Down Sports. Catch us tomorrow for the Friday night panel. I literally can't wait for that. Chicago Cheetah said, Aces, I was a bit surprised that they struggled with the Indiana Fever, given the fact that Kelsey Mitchell went down. I agree. They have been struggling, even though you got the GOAT on your team. I do get concerned about this Aces team. Their struggles lie in second chance opportunities. They get lazy. That's what I'm saying. they better hone in on boxing Natasha Mack out, because what this Phoenix Mercury do, and any team does with second chance points, a team, my coach told me this a long time ago, any team that gets an offensive rebound, you give them a 70, their chances of scoring again increase to 70%. That's why if you watch basketball as much as I do, you will notice anytime a team gets offensive rebound, they most likely score it again. It literally, or even the chances of them getting a offensive rebound again within the same possession will happen. It's like extremely higher. So that's one thing for the Las Vegas Aces. They're gonna have to box out. They're gonna have to do the little things. They're gonna have to. They can't just rely on their 4-time MVP. They can't just rely on Jackie Young. They can't. So we will see. We will see. We will see. Make sure you drop in the chat. Who do you think is gonna win game 1 of the finals tomorrow? Again at 8 p.m. Eastern time, catching on ESPN. Who do you think is gonna win game 1? Go ahead, drop your prediction in the chat. And then not just game 1. I do want to hear who do you think is gonna win it all. Go ahead and drop your prediction. And while you drop your prediction, I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next topic. Again, I appreciate all of your support, you tuning in. If you haven't already, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe. And remember, if you know bull, you know ball. Let's keep going. So, Unrivaled. So if you are new to the basketball space, or at least the WNBA world, I try to be as informative as possible. And I'm going to spend some time breaking down Unrivaled a little bit more, especially considering all the controversy in the WNBA right now. Because, I don't want to get ahead of myself. So I'll spend a little time talking about Unrivaled, and then what my predictions are, what I'm starting to think could happen with this particular league in regards to the WNBA and the direction they're headed with their leadership and then the negotiations. I think all of that is starting to tie together, and a picture is forming in my mind of what can happen in these next coming years. Okay, so Unrivaled, it's a 3-on-3 women's professional basketball league, and it's co-founded by Breonna Stewart from the New York Liberty currently. Her current team is New York Liberty. She's my GOAT, okay? And then Nafisa Collier. So we have two huge names in the WNBA co-founded this league. And the goal was to provide WNBA players a domestic offseason option to reduce reliance on overseas contracts and just create a more year-round earning and exposure. Like, they want the players to earn, because right now, like, the average earning is like, you're like profit sharers of the league. So players are earning like 200 grand around, darn near. So you get a lot more money than the average salary in the WNBA, and then again, exposure to, it's like it highlights your playing skills and your play making abilities and all those things. So the rules are different. The games are smaller. It's a compressed court. It has a shorter shot clock, like 18 seconds. And then the roster so far in 2025 has 36 WNBA players across 6 different teams. So again, the league offers higher salaries, amenities, player forward benefits. They offer, Unrivaled so far claims to offer the highest pay for not just WNBA like basketball players, but women pro athletes around the world. Well, in the US, not around the world, in the US. In US women's sports. And it also includes like sporting facilities, housing. So it's like, it's a league that's already on paper sounding way better than the WNBA. And in 2026, the Unrivaled plans to grow from 6 teams to 8, adding 2 new franchises to the league called Breeze BC and then the Hive BC. So, and recently, you might have already seen there's been some notable players who've joined the league that I think are crucial. Like Nafisa and B. Stewie getting these players to join the league is so helpful. And I could tell, I don't know what the selection process looks like or how they get girls in or what that looks like. But so far, Paige Becker's joined, Kelsey Mitchell joined, before her injury and stuff like that. And Veronica Burton also. And that was this year's league this league season most improved player playing for the Golden State Valkyries, they are announced as additions to the team. So, I mean, yikes. I look. I'm just saying, like, apparently 30. So, like I said, there's 36 total players in 6 teams currently, and then they're going to be 8 teams. So, with more teams, more players, and they're going to be having 30 returner players, 16 new additions here in year 2. So, I want to dig into Unrivaled because this is obviously it's bold, it's new, but I look at it as a challenge for the WNBA since its founding. Because at its core, Unrivaled is a 3-on-3 basketball league, and it was built to solve the two problems that the WNBA still have yet to solve. And what these women have pretty much been battling for the entire time since, I would say, the increase in viewership. And obviously, like the additional franchise and the increase of revenue overall. I mean, the league right now is valued at 3 something billion dollars. That's double its profit from its 1 point something billion from just last year. All right. So, and also workload management. It's like it literally answers all the problems that the women are having, this Unrivaled league that they're having in the WNBA. So, on paper, Unrivaled is a win for players, fans. We get to see a different type of basketball. We get to see players probably play. Their play style is probably different. Their energy might look a little different. Um, but behind the scenes, I think this could be gasoline, fire between the WNBA leadership and its players. Because if the WNBA views Unrivaled as competition instead of collaboration, then it's possible that the league could try to limit the participation. And that's where things could get ugly. Because right now, the players have all the leverage. If they have a league where they're getting everything that they want from it, and in the viewership too, and the loyalty of the fans, because let's face it, if the see, here's the thing, the players have been talking about it for a while now, but more notably, newer players like Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, they have made comments about how the popularity of the league is based on them. So if they leave the league and they go to this Unrivaled league and give it all the love, are the fans going to just keep watching the WNBA, or are they going to go follow them? I could argue and play devil's advocate and say the viewership of the WNBA sustained, if not continued to climb, despite Angel being out for a lot of the season, despite Caitlin being out, even when Fee went down. You feel me? Bree Stewart was down. There were so many big names out during the regular season for long periods of time that one might assume that the viewership declined, but it did not. Okay? So again, that was me playing devil's advocate. But here we are in the month of October, like I alluded to earlier. We are in the month of October. And October 31st is that deadline for those CBA negotiations. And not only that, Collier just came out with her statement about Kathy. Caitlin seconded her. Other people are speaking out. Coaches are getting fined, ejected, cursing at the game after conference, calling out the leadership. Sophie Cunningham's been rebelling all season. I mean, coaches are saying, Becky Hammond has something to say. Stephanie White has something to say about the leadership, the officiating. What I'm saying is, it's looking like it's a civil war going on. And the fact that negotiations for the CBA have not been reached between the players and the leadership and the owners of the WNBA, and now you have the Unrivaled League too. I just was thinking, like, man, I saw news about more players getting added and the who's getting added. I'm like, just based on the patterns of the WNBA. Because and I'm getting a little ahead of myself here, but to me that screams leverage. The women are like, look, y'all not paying us what we want. You're not making travel easier. Well, they made the travel a little easier, but we feel overworked. This is what the players are saying. We feel overworked. We don't feel appreciated. We don't feel valued. pay us what you owe us. Y'all not making the league safe for us. All these other things. And now they can say, but we got this league. So they could say that. So what would the WNBA say in response? You feel what I'm saying? And so far, what Kathy has said in response is very interesting. So I'm gonna talk a little bit about that and move towards what Kathy said in response to kind of wrap up the whole Unrivaled, and also just talking about the WNBA recent controversy. So I'm gonna wrap it all up and bring it together. But before I do that, I'm gonna check chat. Chat is lit tonight. Let's see what y'all got to say. WB said 3v3 exposes your flaws. Everyone that played Unrivaled last season were definitely better for it. I don't like how those founders are the vice president of the WNBA union. Yes, that's what thank you. That is the point I'm trying to make. Nafisa is one of the most active union members. Okay. So, like, the fact that you have an active union member who is definitely a part of the Nneka Ugamake is the president of the WNBCA, which is the Women's National Basketball Association Players Association. So WNBPA, sorry, Women's National Basketball Players Association. That's the name of the union. Nneka's the president. Nafisa is one of the main drivers of it too. And they both started this Unrivaled League and they called it Unrivaled. To me, that's still a little shady. That's some shit. Look, I think it's gonna get pretty nasty. I think it's ready to get nasty, and the fact that it could potentially be a lockout. Like everything is screaming lockout at this point. Okay, so I think when any league star chimes in about poor leadership, whether it's in this league or a company in general, you ever been at work and whether you've been working with someone who usually speaks out, or maybe you're that person who speaks out about the poor leadership, don't you notice that like once one person does it, everybody's like, oh man. I remember I said something one time at a company and people were messaging me during the meeting behind the scenes, like, man, I'm glad you said it. Somebody had to say it. And I'm like, damn, everybody feels this way. I thought it was just me. But all I'm saying is when your league star chimes in and he calls out someone specifically, and it not only calls them out, but exposes their character flaw, not just your leadership in a professional setting, but their character. Nafisa called out Kathy's character. Oh, God. So let's see. Specifically, what specifically Nafisa. Okay, so she blasted out. I want to make sure I'm paraphrasing, but she called leadership negligent, blasting officials, and accusing Kathy Engelbert of privately telling young stars that they should be on their knees in gratitude. I mean, that's not everything that she said. She had a lot to say. She came with a whole paper in her hand and she sat down, like she was, I don't know. I can't even describe the term of what it was like watching that. But I can only imagine what Kathy's saying behind doors. And Kathy, by the way, is taking the brunt of this. Kathy doesn't, I know she's the commissioner, but she doesn't call all the shots. I feel like there's somebody even behind Kathy who makes all the decisions, because if you look at who all the owners in the league, they're mostly NBA owners, men. I need these women. So they like, I want to give some grace to Kathy in some type of capacity, because she is not the only one calling the shots. I guarantee they just put her there to talk PR nonsense. But the real people calling the shots is the NBA. The people who own the NBA, they own the WNBA too. We need to call them out. It's not just Kathy. All right. So when Nafisa decided to call out Kathy's character, I was like, yikes. And Kathy Engelbert responded with disappointment. She said she was disheartened by how Collier framed things. And then she, at the same time, reaffirmed her commitment to the league and insisted she wants to work with the players. It's a civil war. It's a civil war. It's a civil war, man. Um, I mean, what can Kathy even like? Everybody was like, "Oh, she just made this PR stunt." She just said, "What is she supposed to say?" She has to say something like that because it's like she damn if she do say address it, she damn if she don't address it. But it's not about just addressing it in her words. Action do need to follow. But again, we got to give Kathy some grace because they talked about travel time, but now women are starting to the players, the teams are starting to charter flights. Before, yeah, they had to take commercial flights. But now a lot of money over $25 million was poured into the travel, like the travel experience. I'm gonna call it the travel experience of the league. Okay. And then they're adding more teams, so they have to play in more games, but they're only playing 41 games. I'm just saying, I know Jeff Teague had made a comment about something that somebody said. Maybe it was Satu Sabali. Jeff Teague had made a comment about Satu and how she said that the league's offer of like even $1 million was like a slap in the face or something like that. But like Jeff Teague was like, come on, y'all. Because I know where he's coming from. Because I just look at it and I'm like, you playing 41 games? 41 games or 44 games. 44. I'm just saying. That's not a lot of games. Compare like I don't know what number would make them happy, but you could pay me $1 million for to play in 44 games. 1 million divided by 44 is how much? What is 1 million divided by 44? Chat is lit. 44, Bree. Thank you. 44. 44. Pay me 1 million. You could pay me 200 grand to play in 44 games. I feel like that's a steal. I feel like I'm exploiting you. Like what the hell? Tulip said 23K. That's 23K a game? I'm yelling, aren't I? Let me calm down. Oh, y'all complimenting my hair. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you. Got my hair did. This is my natural hair. It's just a good day. When you got natural curly hair, it's a good. Some days, listen, when you see my hair pulled back, just know it was not one of them days. But I appreciate y'all love. But yeah. Well, but yeah, okay. So I got a little distracted. I appreciate y'all showing love, but let's get back to ball. I guess the main for me the biggest thing for me right now is when players feel unheard because obviously they feel unheard, they feel disrespected, and the way that they're coming for the league is now starting to lead me to believe that it's like they feel more so punished for their voice. Like they don't feel like they're being heard and their efforts aren't being met. And this new innovation of a new league, I just feel like at some point, just based on the direction of the players and in the types of routes that they're taking, notably the comments that they're making in the media that are so egregious to the extent that you're calling out the character of your boss, the character, accusing her or painting a picture of her being someone who's just like, you should just be grateful. You should be on your knees. That sounds so diminishing. And I'm not accusing Fee of lying or anything, and I'm not trying to stand up for Kathy in any way, but I don't think that was cool. I don't think that was cool. But if it's going to this extent, it's telling me that the players are totally not happy. And for a leader of this new innovation league to call out another league, that may not bode well for the WNBA. And my thing is, if the women do get what they want, then they're just going to show the blueprint for how other people should act to get what they want. So it's like, it's a tough position to be in if you're Kathy or if you're the owners. Now, some of it's their own fault for letting this get to this point. But the women, the players, kind of got to take some accountability, man. But Fee wanted to expose Kathy, and Kathy's like, I'm gonna stand by what I've been saying, what I want, what I hope for. And the pressure is mounting. The pressure is mounting. I'm watching to see how the WNBA leadership continues to respond. Are they not only going to be maybe more transparent, or are they going to really start taking steps towards reform, maybe in a faster pace? And notice Kathy didn't make any apologies. No apologies was given. I'm concerned. I'm concerned for the league. I'm really concerned. I'm concerned for the league. Tulip says, I don't condone snitching, but sometimes you gotta pop out. Oh man. Um, Miss Bill, but Ghost meant to say Miss Bull. I'm sorry, I don't agree. This is a labor issue, and Engelbert represents a corporate class that is stealing from players. Kathy's character should be questioned. She spent 33 years at Deloitte, a good part of that as CEO, and she defrauded the American public and had to pay $150 million to the US government. I gotta look into that. What's crazy, Fee rocked Kathy to sleep. She made her think she was talking as a friend. Not for real. That's why I don't know who wrote that. If she wrote that, ChatGPT wrote it, but it was a good whatever she had on that paper, whoever wrote it, it was nice. I'm not gonna lie. Mm. CEOs never apologize. They just have mass layoffs. But if Kathy really did say what she said about the players should get on their knees and be grateful, to me that shows maybe that kind of speaks to the attitude that the owners in the WNBA side is having towards these players. It's like the players are saying, y'all wouldn't be as great or making as much moves if it wasn't for us. And then the WNBA saying y'all wouldn't even have a platform to be great if it wasn't for us. So ugh, it's getting nasty. But I wanted to speak mostly to the Unrivaled League. And if we shouldn't just look at this as a league, I want to look at this as leverage. I think this is leverage, and it's possible that with the growing popularity and the growing profit shares that these women are experiencing, and just the offset, the weight lift, the answers to all their problems are being answered in this Unrivaled League. Will the WNBA try to do what they can to position themselves to continue to work together with this league, or will the WNBA continue to kind of clap back by possibly preventing the women from being able to play in this Unrivaled League? That's a real possibility. Based on the pattern of the WNBA, they seem to stand pretty firm in their methods. They have a plan, and they want to continue on this plan despite the women and the players, the fans, the families of the players clapping back. In terms of the platform, Kathy isn't exactly wrong. Where else would they go? Unrivaled is limited in terms of player numbers. Yes. There's over 150 women in the WNBA. And right now, Unrivaled only has 36. So it really, I mean, they got some type of leverage, but that's why I keep going like this. That's why I keep going like this. I hope both sides obviously come to a mutual decision, but it's sounding like both sides are really stubborn and headstrong in what they believe is fair. And the only way they're going to reach a decision or something mutual is if one player gives in. But because all these players then came to the platforms that they have in the media and they talk big crap, it's not going to look too well for them if they end up conceding to the WNBA. And then on the flip side, if the WNBA gives in or gives what the players are saying they deserve or are owed, then it's not going to bid too well for the WNBA in the future because they're going to continue to enable the behavior. So it's really hard to regulate. It's really, to me, this is really tough. As a diplomatic person and a person who loves to come up with resolutions and solutions, I am myself struggling to determine where these two teams could possibly meet in the middle. I'm just not sure. What are y'all thoughts? These two leagues, or just the two ends of this civil war. I truly believe the WNBA is in a civil war right now. It's the players and the coaches versus the leadership and the refs. Can these two leagues coexist? Will this civil war come to an end by October 31st, or are we looking at a lockout? We better enjoy this finals. Make sure you tune in tomorrow at 8 p.m. on ESPN to catch game 1 of the 2025 WNBA Finals between the Las Vegas Aces and the Phoenix Mercury. Okay, so we had a lot of thoughts and discussions surrounded the W and Unrivaled, the controversy, etc., labor, CBA lockouts, all that. And everybody active in the chat, I really appreciate y'all tuning in, chiming in. If you haven't already, make sure you drop a like. And I could not agree more. There's going to be a lockout. I agree. A lockout is a brewing. Okay, so let us move on. I almost hit end stream. Lord. You know what's crazy, y'all? I don't even think I'm recording. Anyway. Okay, let's go to NBA in Europe. Okay? So you're probably like, what the heck is that? And this is the meat and potatoes of why I even wanted to create this league. Not league, episode. Episode 42, yes, is covering the WNBA Finals preview and some of the controversy that recently has happened in the WNBA. But a lot of this, I really wanted to talk about Adam Silver and his execution of his global expansion plan, which if you've been covering or locked in with the NBA, we know that Adam Silver's been talking about this for a long time now. So if you're shocked by him wanting to expand with European or just African, anything international, just know this man has been saying this since like the beginning of his term. He has been hinting and leaning towards this for a little minute now. All right. So he wants to go global. And when he says global, he means like global, not just a little cute, like little NBA cup. No, like this man, reports are saying the NBA is exploring a Europe league with FIBA. And Adam Silver is even talking about NBA teams eventually playing European clubs in real competitions. They'll start with the NBA Cup, but one day the playoffs. That's where I was like, oh, heck no. Let me keep reading. And I'm trying to kind of put down, after I read the articles, gathered my thoughts. This is what I came up with. And this was Adam Silver's pitch, essentially. Like, if I could just summarize the pitch that Adam Silver is proposing to us, but not just us, because it doesn't really seem like what we say matters. Unless it does, because they always say like their motives is about viewership and engagement and things like that. But y'all efforts with changing up the All-Star game was for the sake of us. And y'all efforts failed miserably. Okay, hold on. I'm getting sidetracked. But this was Adam Silver's pitch regarding the NBA and a global expansion. He said simply that there's money and new fans overseas. Money. Root of all evil. And new fans overseas with better flights, a transatlantic swing isn't too much different from New York to LA than it would be from here to France. And that's his dream. That's the dream. And and this is what frustrates me about the whole pitch. Is like he's like, there's more money, more exposure, and also like if you really look at the flight patterns, it's not too different from what they do if they're going from East Coast to West Coast. Sir, sir, just because it's doable doesn't mean it's smart. The NBA already wrestles with load management. We talk about load management. They play 82 games. Now and these players be hurt. People be hurt. The injuries are insane. If you do fantasy basketball or you follow the league and you follow your favorite teams and play, mofos be hurt. And you telling me you wanna add even more to their plate by traveling overseas and playing against aggressive men? I'm not saying that the league's not aggressive, but come on now. Come on now. That y'all we know that Euro style play is different than ours, and they got batteries for days. Their nutrition is insane. When I watch the Olympics, them men be hustling till the whistle's done. The NBA is not used to that type of competition year round. Hell no. I mean, if it's gonna get the men to play harder, sure. But I'm just saying, these men making millions of dollars, they want to do as less, some of them want to do as less as possible, but still maintain themselves just enough. Now, if you were to bring overseas dudes into the actual like regular season meat of it all, I mean, okay. I'm curious to see how the men are going to respond to this, but I can't imagine that the guys who just been coasting it, who actually don't give a F about basketball once they hit those millions, I don't know how much they're gonna really like this and like what efforts they're gonna do to push back. Because you just it just seems like so many moving pieces that you have to figure out. Like the rules, the seating, because they have different whistles, different refs, different rules, different movements. Even the ball is different. Not size, but you know what I mean. It's different. And plus the politics of it all. Between the EuroLeague, National Leagues, fever, it's a maze. This is like we're gonna have like a United Nations of basketball. They're gonna have to create a whole separate thing just between powerful men who have power struggles and want to keep sustain whatever. Like obviously any league, the NBA, Euro, you gonna have really powerful men come together like as United Nations in one room, and then you're gonna come up with who gonna lead all of that. Who's gonna be the real top dog? Who gonna be the real true leader of all these powerful men? Who gonna stab who in the back? You feel what I'm saying? Like I just why Adam? Why? I don't understand. He wants the NBA in Europe, not just for games, but full blown playoffs and expansions. And I get the money and the market appeal, but at what cost? This isn't 2K where you just add a EuroLeague team and everything works. We're talking insane travel, competitive balance is thrown out the window, and a product that might suffer, the product being basketball, might suffer because players aren't built to bounce continents mid-season. Not right now. They're barely built to bounce in the season in the domestic land. Like, come on. Man, you it like my gut is saying that this could damage the league more than it builds it. Unless they could find this revolutionary way to handle scheduling and recovery and the inevitable power struggle and the politics of it all. I just I just don't see how this vision, he's only thinking about money. I don't think anything else is gonna be a product of this besides money. And maybe like I'm coming from an old school basketball type of feel, because right now international players are taking over the league anyway. When's the last time an American won the MVP? Everybody say hi to the mosquito in here. Anyway, when's the last time an American won the MVP? The league is already in trouble as far as like competition and just finding the next face of the league once LeBron leaves. Now you're talking about Europe and integrating. Man, the National Basketball Association of United States of America. Damn, can we just have our We already. I don't want to get too political up here. I don't want to get too political. Let me check the comments. The NBA needs to keep it in the US. Leave the Euro League out of it. It's always greed, man. It is always greed. That's what really, really bothers me. People are saying keep it limited to the US. I'm trying to just figure. I just don't see it. Like, aside from the logistics, how is this going to help the game? So if money is your motivation when it comes to basketball, it frustrates me because look at where money's already gotten us with terrible all-star games, men hurt. Once I see back injury, I already know that man done with the team. He just don't want to play with them no more. Like, I see, I just we even see rookies like Ace Bailey coming in and saying, trying to tell the league what team he wants to play for as a rookie. You ain't got no skin in the game, and you already throwing fits trying to be where you want to go. All I'm saying is the behaviors of the players and the men, their mindsets are changing, and the league is looking like fools chasing the bottom dollar. They looking like fools. The integrity of the league is draining. It's dropping on the WNBA and the NBA, and it's so frustrating to see. It's ruining the game. I already know that money and power have always been a thing influencing behind the scenes, especially in the NBA and WNBA. I'm not going to take away from how this has already been a thing. This is nothing new. But I guess my frustration is how what happens with the media and these leaderships, they dress it up and they use big grabbing words that make it appealing. And then people either just, we just don't say nothing. The players just kind of let it rock out as long as they're making money or whatever. And then it tarnishes the game as the generations go on. I don't know what it's going to look like in 30 years, but I do want to rejoice in now, rejoice in today. I'm grateful to be here to get to talk basketball. But I look at it, Adam Silver, you just joined in the chat and you haven't already, make sure you drop your take. But Adam Silver, is he a visionary or is he just greedy? With this NBA global expansion proposition, is he a visionary or is he just greedy? Is he going to help the game or is he continuing to ruin it? Sheesh. What are y'all thoughts? The NBA are happy to use the international players but not give exposure to the international fans. Come on now. Come on, somebody. Because, like, if you wanna like merge this, it's like you kind of just want the Olympics year round. And that oversaturates the Olympic experience. I think it's pretty fun that there's a FIBA team from the US that comes, and then there's a US men's basketball team. That's fun. We only get it every couple years. You want it to be year round? What's the point of the Olympics? Who cares then at this point? That's the point I'm trying to make. Like, they're oversaturating basketball for the sake of money, and it's never gonna end well. They're building their house on sand. It's gonna crumble. Compromising the integrity of the game, and it's really frustrating. Now, I could be an old school mindset, and I just don't see it yet because I'm stuck in the traditional ways, but I can hardly say it's traditional. The game changes from year to year. It's like fast fashion. The game has changed. And like when Joker was the MVP, Joker made bigs be cool again. Because for a while, being a guard and shooting a lot like Steph was the it thing. Joker kind of made being a big man cool again. A little bit. I'm just saying. So it's just like the game is rapidly changing. Now we got Wemby coming down. He's 7 foot shooting threes. You feel what I'm saying? Like the game is changing. So this is just part of life and things change and stuff like that. I just hope and pray that I still want to keep watching basketball if this does end up going. And I hope I'm proved wrong. I hope that this is actually fun and a good thing. But right now, I can't really find too many pros and cons, right? I find more cons than I do pros when I look at the overarching picture of this. So that's my thoughts on it. I appreciate everyone who is tuned in so far and shared their thoughts. If you haven't already, make sure you drop a like and subscribe to my channel. Again, I'm Brianna Bull. This is the No Bull podcast. I bring you everything basketball. And if you know bull, you know ball. Let's keep going. So we're on our final topic, which is dun 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 fantasy basketball. And okay, if you've been with me since the beginning, I've talked about this. When I started in June, I said one of the main reasons I wanted to start all this is because of fantasy basketball. And now, and I was too late to do WNBA fantasy, and I've never done that. I've only ever played fantasy for NBA. All right. And I'm new to fantasy. This will be my third year. So if I was looking at it like an NBA or WNBA career, I had my rookie season, first year pro. This is my second year pro for fantasy. All right. And I wanted to talk about Yahoo and how they just flipped the fantasy world upside down by creating this new format called high score. All right. So instead of every game counting towards your weekly score, it's your best game that week. And it has simpler lineups, simplified scoring, and suddenly it's all about chasing the big nights. Does that sound familiar? Sounds like gambling, doesn't it? Okay, I'm getting ahead. I'm getting ahead of myself. So again, this channel is I'm going to be obviously I'm going to cover basketball, games, news, but I am also going to start dropping fantasy basketball content because fantasy basketball is near and dear to my heart. And if you are a fellow fantasy lover and you have yet to win a champion, you are looking at a two-time fantasy basketball champion. Okay. And if you've already won a championship, holla, champions, winner circle. But if you have yet to win a championship, this is your year because you are tuned in. Okay. I'm going to be dropping tips. We're going to talk weekly about fantasy, who's hot, like what's looking good for you. And it's going to be it's going to be a mix of like a segment of my show and a mixture of just like when I go drop a video, it's going to be specifically about basketball. So, and then also I'll help you with your draft, anything like that. And also feel free to like email me. I have my email in my bio and we'll talk more. But you can email me and ask me for thoughts for your fantasy team. Maybe you got second pick, maybe you got last pick. I just want to let you and I'll talk a little bit more about my success. And just because I won 2 championships doesn't mean I was only in 2 leagues. I've been in a few leagues now, and I've had a few different teams and I've had different pick placements from being first pick all the way to being last pick and still finishing first in the regular season. So my track record, I'll go more in detail about that as I drop the fantasy basketball content. But yeah, I wanted to talk about that, but also more specifically the new fantasy format. So on the surface, it sounds fun, right? You can explosive 40-point nights can now carry your week. And you don't have to stress about turnovers because the reward is more on the upside of players. But the catch for me is consistency. So if a guy gives you a solid 18-7-5 every night, he could get outshined by someone who drops 45 points once in a blue moon. And now everything just disappears for the rest of the week. All that work you may have done with your team, who's just consistency, could have been shot out the window for a guy who has a random 45-point night. Okay? So again, this feels less about skill for the game of fantasy and more about gambling. It pushes managers to chase volatility instead of strategy. And I'm not sure that's the direction fantasy basketball necessarily needs, but I can see the appeal. So again, what I can see what Yahoo's trying to do. They're trying to bring in more casual players, like with a quicker, flashier style. And I think season managers who've been doing it even longer than me will notice the flaws. So, you know, it really just depends. And Yahoo isn't the only platform where you can do fantasy basketball. ESPN is actually my preferred platform for fantasy basketball. And Yahoo just dropped its new format. So it could be appealing to some, but to others, it could just be like, bro, this is not even a fantasy basketball. Like, this isn't a part of the appeal for me as a fantasy basketball manager who truly likes to dig into the stats, watch every night, and really make your decisions because you love the game this much. Or is it just for people who are like, I don't got that much time to give to it? But just like gambling, I'm gonna do like a quick little boop, 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 and I might hit or I might not. And if I hit just once on 1-8, then my week is good. No. So I'm gonna talk again a little bit about the pros that Yahoo's gonna sell you for choosing this league and the format. It's fast, exciting. One explosion can carry your entire week. It amplifies things, so you don't have to glue your eyes to a 9 stat line. Like, you don't have to pay attention to things like turnovers. You just have to focus on points, boards, assists, steals, and blocks. Well, other fantasy leagues, free throws were included, turnovers. I'm trying to think what other type of stats. 3-pointers are included. It's not so in this high league, it's just points overall. So if you were to hit a 3, you get 3 points. But in some leagues, if you hit a 3 versus a 2, you get different types of points. So some people would draft a person who can shoot a lot of threes because they know they'll get 4 points off of just someone hitting a 3. You see what I'm saying? This new format, it doesn't work like that. Um, so again, there's upside on risk. Players with high ceilings become more valuable. Players that typically we find have higher ceilings but more injury prone, like LaMelo Ball, for instance, Anthony Davis. Um, who else has high ceilings? Just off the top of my head, for someone who has a high ceiling but could get injured, and now they're out. Like, there's this one guy on the fantasy league. His team were like called the IR team because they were always on injury. Like, he either would win because everybody on his team was players that scored at least 30 points a game, but he also could lose and not have terrible weeks because all of his players were injured. So, you know, talks about that. Another pro for this type of format, if it can make waiver moves and lineup pivots more impactful. And I hope I explained to y'all like how the game works well. Because I mean, I was looking at the format and it's like it's now like you have 1 point guard, 1 forward, and a utility player, and then anybody on the bench. So if someone were to have a really good game and you had them in the starting lineup, but then you moved them to the bench because you think someone else is going to have a great game, then all the points that player had from the beginning of the week is now out the window. It's cooked. Right. If you're like me, you're like, what? So here's the cons. You lose the reward for consistency. So like I said, a guy who could have like a solid player to me is people like Jakob Podol. He's consistent. He'll get almost a double double. If not, he'll get a double double. He plays on the Raptors. To me, he's a solid big that I would draft in like the later rounds, but still, he's one of those bigs that I want to have on my team because he's consistent. But is he going to have a 50-point game? Hell no. So it's like players like that, you might be more inclined to not pick up. Like, it just changes the whole strategy of the game. So that's my decline because I like consistent players, having a team full of consistent players and a few people that will hit those 50 marks instead of having a full team of 50 hitting squads. Like, people who are at the top of the list. Here's the thing. When I was the first pick versus the final pick, if you're the final pick, you get the last of the good. So it's like, it's a chance. Like, I had ended up drafting Spider and Sabonis being the last pick because it's a snake draft. But who knew that Spider was going to have a way better season than some of the top 10 picks that were made before me? You see what I'm saying? Spider was just like last in the pool of good people that I had to pick him up. Would I have chosen him? Not saying Spider not good, but no, I would not have done that. But are you looking at this? It's like I made up for it in my later picks because I knew the game. But it's like it just runs a lot of risk for someone who may not know fantasy that well, don't have a high pick, versus someone who knows fantasy really well and watches the game a lot. The new format, there's more upside to those type of people in the higher picks. I'm already kind of just my mind is going through it all. Your bench and trades don't really matter anymore. The bench points vanish. If you bench someone before they drop points, poof, you lose it all. And that's what I'm saying. This type of like format that Yahoo is pushing, it forces gamblers' behavior that you must chase the upside even when the matchups are risky. And I'm like, bro, if I wanted to gamble, then I'll just go gamble. And while fantasy, if you have money involved, obviously you're gambling your money, and it's like a long-term gamble though. It's a long-term investment, low key, and you either reap the rewards for it or you don't. But it's like a long-term experience. The way this game is going, I'm not feeling it. For people like me who strategize per category, per matchup, per projection, I feel like the cons to Yahoo is there's not going to be too much flexibility in these settings. Whereas though ESPN's depth, the settings, the flex options, and custom controls, yeah, they do feel more safe and more familiar. Just saying. If you're more like a person, I play fantasy, I prefer to just play it for free and have fun doing it. Because when money's involved, the only other thing that it brings me joy is the bragging rights. You feel what I'm saying? But this type of league, it would definitely I already get frustrated. So this would just drive me insane. So again, so I would say I would rather play in the ESPN, but I know that I'll have some Yahoo fantasy time. And I think this high format option is just an option. I think you could go back to the regular way you played it. But I didn't look too far into that. I just saw that they dropped a new format and I was like, oh heck no. So let me just tap into the comments real quick, see what y'all have to say. Tulip is a champion, by the way. Tulip has won a fantasy championship before. So Tulip says, I prefer regular mode though, because I'm not a casual. Yep, exactly. I'm on the same sentiment. That's what's up, Cheetah. Cheetah said, love fantasy. I really been getting the hang of this. But yeah, I wanted to know your thoughts. Talk about the lore. Can Bull help you in your fantasy league? Bull is me. So I really hope that y'all enjoy the fantasy content that I'll put out. I've been working on it already, so I'm excited to get that out there. And again, it'll be one of the new segments in the live show, but then also I'll be dropping like separate videos in addition to that'll be its like own series within the show. So I'm really excited and grateful to just talk basketball with you all and to have built this. Is it trust? Yeah, to build this trust between us so far. But overall, I hope you all enjoyed the show today. We had some really good conversation, a lot of chatter in the chat. I really appreciate it. We're on a road to 600 subscribers. So if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe, drop a like. I really appreciate you all. Again, I'll be on Man Down Sports panel tomorrow for the Friday night panel. And then there's also a WNBA show for Man Down Sports that I'm a part of. Shout out to Sports T with Dom. And then shout out to the other ladies on the panel too. Been getting to know them. Really grateful. And then if you haven't already, go check out my guest appearance on the fan rankings. It's this show. It's really cool. Sunday is the host of the show. And what he does is like he does rankings with videos of the players. He does NBA, WNBA. He also talks boxing and MMA fights too. So he just talks about stats and it's really cool. And he ranks them. And he doesn't just have my rankings. He encourages you to sign up and give your own rankings. And if you do so, you can win a $25 gift card. So I was live on his show on yesterday. So I dropped the link in the description if you want to go check that out. You can see my top 10 WNBA players, top 10 rookies in the WNBA, and then the top 10 teams that I listed in WNBA. That was a fun show. But yeah, I really appreciate y'all love, your support. And I hope you have a great rest of the week. And make sure you're tuning in to tomorrow, game 1 of the WNBA. All right? And be on the lookout for this WNBA lockout. It's very likely it could happen. So I appreciate you all. As always, just remember, if you know bull, you know ball. And I will see you next time. Take care, y'all.